Let's get into it. Episode 522, Soul Not For Sale podcast. And the thing I want to say to you right now is the best part of waking up. You said it. I know you said it. If you didn't say it out loud, you said it in your head. We're talking about advertising today. Tim Dillion and Joe Rogan are talking about advertising and the trickery and almost propagandizing, if that's a word, that goes on in the advertising industry, and how it went on in the past and dictated how our parents fed us and what they believed. Very, very interesting topic, because again, anytime I don't think I'm this super smart person. You shouldn't either. You're intelligent, but don't get cocky is what I'm saying. So if it happened to them, it could happen to us. And there's no if when we say, did it happen to them? It did. So where is it happening to us? That's the thought process that comes when I listen to this clip, and I want you guys to hear it. Of course, I have to bring you to IamCoachColin.com first. We got the Public Enemy #1 shirt. You know who it is. If you don't, Google "You Will Own Nothing and Be Happy." We got the Certified Pure Blood shirt. For those of you that survived the psychological experiment and came out of it unscathed, we got the Great Resist shirt. For those of you who know about the Great Reset and how terrible it is and how it's so tied to Agenda 2030 and how it's right around the corner and how we have to resist it. And we have the Soul Not For Sale shirt as well, the one that started it all. I love this statement because no matter what happens in my life, whether this becomes a blown up channel or whether I have to, do certain things, be around certain people, I always want them to know that my soul is not for sale, not at all, not for money, not for fame, not for anything. And I got the hoodie on right now, Public Enemy #1. It's great. If you want 10% off of anything you just saw and anything else that you might see on the website, just put in the discount code I am Coach Colin. That's all capital letters. That's all one word, one L in the name Colin. Boom, you get 10% off, whether it's a big purchase, small purchase, anything. My gift to you, and if you've used that already, thank you so much. You are much appreciated. Now let's get into this clip.
You can buy crazy shit on Amazon. Very expensive things on Amazon. You just have it sent to your house.
It's like my boomer parents were like the first heavily propagandized generation with regard to advertising.
Yeah.
That's why we all grew up eating shit, because they believed corporations.
Yeah.
Corporations were like, McDonald's is it. Your kids are going to love it. And you're like, all right, go to McDonald's. Now, my cousin's 2 kids have never had McDonald's. They're 6 and 4. She goes, I can't control them forever, but for right now, they'll never have McDonald's. We grew up eating there.
Yeah.
Because corporations were paramount. My father loves commercials as much as TV shows. He used to call me like the Budweiser frogs were his favorite thing in the world. Remember those 3 frogs?
I do remember those
on
frogs.
On the lily pads?
I do remember them.
Budweiser. And my father loved them. To him, that was art. The boomers were like one of the first generations where the advertising was art. Like after 9/11, Budweiser did this commercial where all the Clydesdales took a knee and they said, "From one America." And they were doing it and you're like, where was it? And they're doing it in Jersey and you're looking at where the towers used to be. And it took you a minute to get it. And then they all take a knee and Budweiser said, "From one American icon to another." And my father's like crying in the living room going, "This is the greatest thing I've seen." The bodies were.
I cannot play this commercial because of the music that they have associated with it, so I just had to mute it for a second. Let's get back to the clip.
How did they go from that to this Dylan Mulvaney disaster?
Well, I think what they thought was going to happen, right? Because I think what happens is all you need is one nut. This is all you need in any company. Nobody's ever worked in a company. Like the people that are curious about how this happened, a lot of them have never worked in a company where just one person has an inordinate amount of power, and one motherfucker can go in there and go, "No, this is the way it's going to be." And usually that person doesn't get called out because usually the company's not Budweiser, and usually it's not going to be, you know, but we all see like one person in any organization can totally throw it on its head. And I think they had a marketing director who said, we're going to have a little fun. We're going to be a little edgy. This is going to be cool. And we're going to get Dillion Mulvaney. And I don't think what they had imagined was that was kind of this straw that broke the camel's back. Because I think people had felt like this new world was being shoved down their throat. And then they were looking at Budweiser and they were going, we have to push back against this because we feel like all of this is happening a little too quickly. It's a little crazy and we don't understand it. And they fought back. But I think it was probably just one or two people.
That is wild.
That probably came in there. And you know, you're not paying attention. You go, yeah, here's a budget. Go work with influencers. You know?
But it was also the speech that she gave about wanting to do something to sort of upgrade the brand's image, that it was a very fratty.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like,
what's one bitch? Oh, one bitch has to go in there and go, she goes out to a bar one night. She's a bunch of guys in fucking, you know, those pink salmon shorts and fucking loafers drinking Bud Light. And she goes, I don't like this. I got to change this.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it's one person.
It's the whole group of people that buy it.
Yeah.
Like, imagine.
It's a shitty beer. It's not the best beer. I'm not a beer drinker. I don't drink alcohol now.
It's
but
not the best beer.
It's not the best beer, right?
It's okay.
It's fine.
It's okay when it's cold.
It's not like a connoisseur's beer.
No.
No, this is a cooler beer.
Yeah.
This is a frat bro beer.
Yeah.
And they were like, we're going to now do the Dillion Mulvaney thing. Yeah. I mean, you know, people getting upset about it, I understand to a degree. I understand where it comes from. But I've never looked at corporations and went, they're good. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I never thought that they were beacons of truth.
Right.
So I never thought that, like, I can't believe it's not butter had to have my political view. Like, you know?
Right.
Because I'm like, oh, they're selling poison crap. And fat people are going, no, it's not butter. Yeah.
You know how wild it is that they convinced people that margarine was better for you than butter?
Well, they came in and they said frozen yogurt's better than ice cream. And it's just chemicals. Same thing. Just chemicals, right? Margarine's better than butter. This vegan stuff, these Impossible burgers are better than burgers. And they're like fake and they're loaded with sodium and they have fake blood and stuff. But that's what I always viewed corporations like that. I always came from that generation where we looked at corporations where we're like, oh, you're full of shit. My parents looked at corporations crying at the commercials, going, they care about us. Budweiser cares. McDonald's cares. They care about us.
Right.
You know? Like when I was a child actor, I said to my parents, they brought me into some audition. I didn't get it. And I came out and I went, I didn't get it, but can we still go to McDonald's? My dad used that as like, look what a good head he has on his shoulders. He can handle rejection and he just wants to go to McDonald's. And it's like, no, that's a toxic factory of horrible food that no kid should be eating. But we grew up having birthday parties there. Every kid in my class had a birthday party at Burger King or whatever. It's just what it was. Because our parents fundamentally trusted corporate America and the government enough to go, well, if it was bad, the government would be regulating it.
Yeah, nobody thought of fast food as bad when we were kids.
Nobody.
It was just food that wasn't the best food.
Right. And nobody was like, this stuff's bad.
Like, I think when Super Size Me came out, that was like the first time where people actually really thought, like, okay, how bad is this?
Yeah, but then that guy was so annoying. That guy that people were like, well, fuck him. Like, he made a true point. But people were like, but the corporations are smart. They go, okay, how about fast casual? How about fast casual? It's not fast food. And you go, well, it's not fast food. I have to stand on a line. They give me a thing. But it's the same thing. Like, they just morph what they do. So to me, I've never been like, these corporations will do what they can get away with. And I think with the Mulvaney thing, they just went a step too far.
I think they just did.
Man, so true. So true. They just morph what they do. That's really well said. They just morph what they do. Now, like I just wrote down exactly his comparison: butter to margarine, burgers to Beyond Burgers. McDonald's was seen as okay. Fast food in general was seen as like okay. It wasn't seen as like a terrible thing. Definitely wasn't seen as poison. Like today, when people look at it, they're like, you know, we know that they squeeze out like chicken nuggets or like liquid before they become like nuggets. We know the burgers are like not all beef, even though like we know that the all beef brand that they have is actually a company just called 100% beef. And it's just like, it's like, we know so much now. But back then we didn't know. Back then it was like, it's okay. This is just food. It's just burgers that they make for you and hand to you. That's all we thought. Really, really weird. Margarine. I just stopped using margarine like 4 years ago. I just stopped. Only because I met my wife 6 years ago, because I've been with my wife almost 7 years. Just stopped when I met her. Why don't you use butter? I was like, nah, I don't want to mess with dairy. No dairy for me. Give me margarine. That's really what I wanted until I like learned a thing or two. And then the beyond meat, like vegan stuff. There was a time where I was a vegan. It was a tired time in my life, that's for damn sure. But there was a time where I was a vegan, and I thought like these vegan substitutes were all so much better. Man, it's like, and again, it's like if that happened in the past, if that was able to happen to our parents when they were our age, older, a little younger, what's happening to us now? What are we taking in now that's really advertising? You know? Like I notice in podcasts, because I watch a lot of podcasts. I notice in podcasts when they just bring things up, I can tell it's an ad. Like I'm starting to like realize like, oh, they're not talking about this watch or this brand of something. They're not talking about that for fun. Like this is an ad. This is they're inserting it like it's an ad, but it's not. They're inserting it like it's regular conversation, but it's actually an ad. You know, like I'm starting to notice that. You know, obviously you always notice that in movies. Like, I just really wonder where else is the wool being pulled over our eyes. And again, like I said, don't get cocky, because we feel cocky because we have access to so much information now that we just feel like we know it all. But as we get smarter, it's like cops and criminals. As we get smarter, so do the people who are, you know, trying to pull the veil over our eyes. So do the marketers. So do the companies, the corporations. You know? So it just really, really makes me think, where else could we be getting fooled? I want to know in the comments, because a lot of you seem to like know more than me, or at least know things that I don't know. It's very helpful. Like shout out to people who actually like jump in there. Thank you so much. You have no idea how much it means. What else could be? You know, I'm even thinking. I'm looking around the studio. Coffee? Is coffee bad? You know? And then another thing that Tim said, which is a really good take. Have you ever thought of a corporation as good? Like the way people got mad at Bud Light, you know, and I did too. I don't even drink alcohol. I've been off of alcohol for like 12 years now, maybe even 13 years. And I even got mad. I was like, what is this? What are they doing? Why are they pushing this in our faces like this? This is nonsense. But before they did this, did you think of them as good? Or was it something that you just drank a lot of? You know? Because whether Dillion's associated with the brand or not associated with the brand, like, go read some studies on alcohol in general. It's not good. You know, it's funny how people will look at Bud Light and be like, oh, well, that's just a nice weekend thing, or, you know, a couple cans every night. But then they'll look at McDonald's and be like, well, that stuff's not even real food. Alcohol is not a real drink. Like, the real drink is water. If it's not that, if it's filled with sugar, if it's filled with alcohol and all sorts of preservatives and all sorts of things that are in the alcohol, if it's that, that's not a real drink. So, like, why would you think that a company that's selling basically poison has the same political views as you, or the same virtues that you do as a person? You know? Like, they're just trying to make money. And they're selling you something that is really bad for your body. Like, a lot of people think alcohol is just something that touches on your liver. You know what actually messes with your liver, your kidneys, your heart, your brain? You know that? Your gut? Like, it does a lot of harm. Like, way more than what people talk about. Way more than a lot of people even know. I don't know. You know, just like, you know, when we talk about, you know, keep going to McDonald's, you can go to any fast food chain, right? they're all getting something from similar places. They're all getting their stuff from similar places, right? I don't know. It's like you look at a coffee brand. Do you think the coffee brands have the same values as you do? Like, you know where they get their coffee beans from, right? And we're all guilty of this. Like, I got a cup of coffee right over here. You know, it's like a real unfair trade between the places where they get their coffee from and when they bring it over here. Like, they pay like cents and then they sell it to us for dollars, basically, which is like, that's business, but it's not really fair to those other countries. I don't know. But I don't expect much more from them. I don't expect them to be like, we gotta cut down our margins by 60%. Start paying these African countries and South American countries some good money for their coffee beans. It's like, I don't expect that. It's insane. They're not gonna do that. Why would they do that? It's not how business works. You know? I don't know, man. They're just not. What corporation do you think is good? What corporation that you use? I mean, and even, I don't have my phone here, but you know, Joe Rogan even had an episode on it. I actually have to cover the episode where they're talking about the cobalt mines, where the things that are in our phone, the rechargeable batteries, the elements that they use, they're basically having a bunch of slaves picking away at these things, inhaling it into their lungs. They got babies on their back. There's mines that collapse on people. Like, what are we expecting? Like, Samsung and Apple all of a sudden have this heart and they're like, we got to start paying them more money. It's like, you don't expect that from, do you? I don't know. It's like expecting pure transparency from the government. You going to do that too? It's an interesting take. You know? I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about corporations? What do you think in terms of the Bud Light situation or any company that gets boycotted? Because Target went through it too. They went through a heavy boycott as well. Like, are we thinking that these people are supposed to have good hearts, integrity? These corporate, and I say these people, I shouldn't even be saying that because they're a corporation. They're made up of people, but those people push aside the integrity for the bottom line. It's literally what they're paid to do. It's literally how they get paid. I don't know. What do we really expect? Now, the thing about it is, we're talking about corporations. If we went back to the way things were, you'd expect those type of values from a farmer. And maybe that's why we have these expectations. Maybe it's not just the advertising. Maybe it's because way back, and it's still ingrained in us, that if you went to a farmer, the farmer had good values. The farmer gave you a good trade. The farmer didn't spray his crops with all sorts of craziness, like back in like 1800s. The farmer did some really hard work, and he deserved every penny that you gave him, or he deserved whatever you traded him for. But that's not who we're dealing with anymore. We're not dealing with these hard-working farm type of men anymore. We're dealing with soulless corporations. So what do we expect from them? What do you expect from someone that's soulless, or from an entity that's soulless? You know? You expect your pet snake not to eat you after you don't feed it for a few days, right? You expect the wolf to leave you alone because you're just taking a hike, or the mountain lion? It's like, I don't know. Anyways, guys, like the video if you haven't liked it already. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And other than that, I'm out. Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think. What are we expecting from these corporations? And if it's not much, and like if we're going to boycott and we're not expecting much from them, I don't know. What's the other path? I feel like we're coming up to really needing to answer that question. I feel like as things get more digital, as places get more and more cashless, as this society that's springing up that a lot of us don't want to join, we're going to have to answer those questions. Because if we're not moving forward with those technologies, chips and whatnot, if we're not moving forward with them, where are we going to? And then, you know, how's it all going to work? Anyway, other than that, I'm out.